Hello everyone, welcome to this class. My name is Brian Sabando and I'm going to be here with you tonight to share with you these important things we need to know as teachers, as English teachers specifically. Let's share about aspects, tense, and voice. First, we're going to analyze the main concepts, subdivisions, and differences between aspect, tense, and voice. Let's start with aspect. Aspect. Let's start by understanding what aspect is. It is a name by which verbs are related to and the clauses in which they appear. In other words, aspect refers to the form verbs might take in different types of constructions. In English, aspect has three main forms: simple, progressive, and perfect. Let's check out the simple aspect first. Simple aspect. It consists of the verb stem, considering the person used as subject, singular or plural, it's no problem. Therefore, it determines if the verb should be inflected by using s or es in present or ed in past or irregular verb forms. Let's check out some examples. Manuel deserves a second chance. That's simple aspect, present. Manuel deserved a second chance. Simple aspect, past. Angela sings very well. Simple aspect, present. Angela sang very well. Simple aspect, past. Now let's continue. Progressive aspect. This is formed by verb phrases that include the verb be plus the verb in ing form, or gerund as we know it. It occurs in continuous actions in present, past, or future. It is important to mention that the progressive aspect does not refer only to the time of an event. This is also why it is closely related to tense, but it also shows how the speaker preserves and perceives an event, ongoing or temporary, or as completed and permanent. As stated by Lesa and Salgado in 2019, the progressive aspect is related to the idea of temporariness or extended duration of an event. Let's check out an example then. Lisa is playing the piano. Ongoing action. This, according to this sentence, that is happening in this moment. Okay? Or what about this one? Lisa is playing the piano very well. This means that the action has been completed. In other words, she performs very well. She performs better now. All right? So as I mentioned. Now, let's continue. Perfect aspect. This aspect indicates the completeness of a verb. It includes the use of auxiliaries such as have or has for present perfect and had for past perfect, plus the verb in past participle. Let's check out the present perfect then. It is used for actions that began in the past and continue into the present. As you will analyze, the time when the action happened is not directly specified, but sometimes the lapse of time is implicitly shown. And in some cases, it implicitly indicates that an action has been performed recently. Let me show you a couple of examples then. Mary has played basketball for many years. Luis has run all morning. Now, the past perfect. This tense is mostly used for the following: for actions that happened before a past event, in reported speech as well, and if conditional sentences. Let me show you an example. When I arrived, Mary had already fallen asleep. In this case, I'm talking about an action that happened before another past event. Because Mary fell asleep before I arrived. So I say, when I arrived, Mary had already fallen asleep. And notice that the verb fall has to be in past participle as well. All right, that's how the structure goes. Now, on the other hand, we have tense, past, present, and future, which we'll analyze now. Tense and finiteness are very related, since for a verb to be tensed or assigned a time of occurrence, it has to be finite. On the other hand, non-finite verbs such as infinites, gerunds, base forms do not show the time when an action happens. This is about tense. Now, let's analyze some tenses, like the past. Past tense. It is used for events or actions that have already been concluded or completed at a specific time in the past. Example: Fernando played football very well last week. Played in the past is a regular verb. And we also have the sentence that says, Jose or Joseph sent me a text message to apologize. So sent is an irregular verb, but still it's a past tense. Now we have the present tense. It is used for events that happen regularly as habits, routines, schedules, or are very well known, such as universal truths and facts. Let's check out some examples then. Lisa usually arrives early. It's a habit, as you can see here. Fred wakes up at 6 a.m. It's a routine. Juan loves rock music. It's a fact. The earth revolves around the sun. It's a truth. The meeting is at 11, scheduled event, as mentioned in all the previous examples. All right, now let's continue then. Let's go to the future tense. This is used for events that have not taken place yet. As aforementioned, for this tense, we need to use auxiliaries such as will, be going to, or use modals to. Let's check out some examples. We've got here, Carlos will be a good engineer. So we have will in this sentence. The next sentence says, Vicky is going to buy a new apartment this year. This is, here we're using be going to. B, where is B? Well, it's easy to see here. This is B. Let me show you with a different color so you can clearly see it. Is the verb be. Okay, be going to. Like, my sister might come for my birthday. It's a possibility, but it's still talking about something in the future. Might. For my birthday, the sentence indicates that my birthday is going to be soon. Maybe next week, maybe next month, but she might come to my birthday, for my birthday, sorry. Okay, so in these three sentences, I'm talking about future events. Maybe things that are planned, predictions, or things that are possibilities, but still in the future, the three of them. Great. Now let's continue. Changing the topic, we have Voice. We've got active, passive, and middle voice. First, let's see. Voice focuses on different participants in an action or event. There are two main types of voice, active and passive, but that's not it. However, there is a third voice, which is also used as a result of these two ones. This is the middle voice. Let's see little concepts of each one. Active. It focuses on the NP or noun phrase that performs an action. It's the agent or the doer of the action, which is different from middle. The agent and receiver of the action might be the same noun phrase, or it might not be defined. Or let's go to passive voice then. It focuses on the noun phrase affected by an action. It's the experiencer and the receiver. It's totally the opposite to active. They are opposites. Okay, and middle voice, as I mentioned, which is not defined sometimes. We'll see some examples so you can better understand this, all right? Now let's move on. Let's see the active voice first. Active voice focuses on the agent, doer, performer of an action. Example, here it is. Someone robbed John. So someone is a doer or agent. Let me use some arrows here. Okay. Robbed is the action and the receiver is John. Okay, but here in this sentence, we're focusing on someone. We're focusing on the agent or doer or performer is the active voice. When we focus on the doer of the action, like in this sentence. Okay, very different from passive voice because it focuses on the receiver of an action. Example, the same sentence. John is the receiver, was robbed. Simple as this. Okay. So John, now the sentence is focused on John because the passive voice focuses on the receiver of the action. Then what happened to John? Oh, he was robbed. So he's the receiver of an action. Clear as that. And to form the passive voice, we need to use the verb to be always. In this case, we're using the verb to be in past, but it can be in present or also in the future using is be going to or will. There is no problem with that. John was robbed. John is going to be robbed. John will be robbed. Okay. Now let me show you a couple more examples. Active. Eva sent me the report yesterday. The report was sent to me yesterday. As you can notice also, in this sentence, I'm not mentioning who sent me the report. It was Eva. Yes, it was Eva. But I'm not mentioning it. I'm not mentioning it. I don't need to do it. If it's not necessary to mention, you don't need to mention. If you want to mention who did the action, we use a preposition by. And I say, the report was sent to me yesterday by Eva, or was sent by Eva to me. It can be in different positions in the sentence, but I need to use a preposition by if I want to mention who is the doer of the action. But not necessary because remember that the passive voice focuses on the receiver. Okay. Now, the second sentence. Maria took my phone without permission. And then if we transform this into passive voice, it says, my phone was taken without my permission. So my phone is a receiver of the action because it was taken. I can mention the doer, yes, if I want. Maria, sorry, I say my phone was taken by Maria. Where is she? I'm looking for her. So I'm mentioning who did it, which in this case who was Maria. But if I don't want to mention it, I just say this way. My phone was taken without any permission. Maybe I don't know who took it, or maybe I just don't want to mention it, right? Now, these are great differences between active and passive voice. Now let's check out then the middle voice, which we mentioned before. Middle voice differs from active and passive voice in that we cannot categorize neither the agent nor the receiver of an action. What is this then? Let's see the example. First, so we can better understand this, we need to check an active voice sentence, a passive voice sentence, and then the middle voice. Carla shaved Michael. This means that Carla did the action. She is the agent. This is active voice. Then Michael was shaved by Carla. So Michael is the receiver, and this is passive voice. Shaved by. In this case, I'm mentioning Carla. I'm mentioning the doer of the action. But in the middle voice, Michael shaved this morning. This means the sentence would probably mean that he shaved himself. Nobody shaved him. Okay, so this is middle voice. The agent and receiver is the same noun phrase, the same person in this sentence. That's middle voice, as you can see. All right. So I think the example was pretty clear about this. Well, I definitely think that knowing these things, like the aspect, the tense, okay, and these types of constructions are really, really necessary. The voice, okay, because if we don't know the aspects, we will not use the verbs in the correct way when making sentences, when talking about past experiences or things that we think are going to happen in the future, all right, or routines, habits for I, for you, or for he, she, it. Okay, so we need to know the aspects, the correct form of the verbs for making sentences, accurate sentences. We also need to know. We also need to know the tenses and the verbs in past and past participle, so we can use the present perfect tense or the past perfect tense or the present progressive tense. So we need to use also how to form the gerund, so we can do make the ing form of a verb very easily. She is dancing now, or she has danced this song before, or she had danced with him before I got there. So as you see, I'm using different tenses. And for that, I have to know the verbs. And also the voice, active, passive, and middle voice. Because I can say, for example, Hurricane Victoria. I don't know if there is a hurricane with that name, but I say Hurricane Victoria hurt hundreds of people this year in Miami. That's an active voice sentence. But what happens when you see the news? You usually don't hear it that way. You usually hear hundreds of people were hurt by Hurricane Victoria this year. So that's that's passive voice. And we need to know that. To form the passive voice, remember, we need to use the verb to be plus a verb in past participle. They have to be together in order to be the passive voice. Hundreds of people were hurt by anyone or anything. Okay? So, in order to make accurate sentences, to communicate well, we need to dominate these three things we've mentioned today. And as teachers, we need to know them very well in order to instruct our students during these topics. Remember that. Thank you so much. And this has been Brian talking to you tonight. I'll see you another day. Bye bye.